What's up, badass? So I've got a bit of an astrology update, a collective energy read on some of the themes coming up right now. Was going to just send this over to my clients, but I thought, why not share with all y'all? Give you an update of what energies are coming in right now. So we're right now in a Saturn-Neptune conjunction. I'm referring to my notes right here because I don't have this all like memorized in my brain. And this is one of the first times in 36 years like that this conjunction has happened, and it's really energetically significant, and it's no coincidence that the world stage is mirroring this perfectly, all of these themes identically, but it's essentially dissolving of old realities and rebuilding of new ones. It's an end of a really big cycle. So what that means is March is a turning point portal. In our personal lives, of course, it's always from the micro to the macro. But even if we look on the world stage, like this is a turning point. So we have this Pisces new moon coming up here on the 18th, and it is the end of the portal that was created with the eclipses at the beginning of March. So these last couple of weeks maybe have felt a little bit funky for you because you're shedding old identities. So we're seeing a lot of patterns like in extinction behavior, like coming up really big because they're getting ready to die. They're getting ready to be recycled, and a new age is beginning because we are in a turning point portal. So any of the themes that have been coming up for you, things you've been releasing, shadows you've been working on or integrating these last few weeks, like you're getting ready to tee up a completely new timeline over these next like 3 to 5 days. So we get to be really clear on the old identity that we're dissolving. And the journal question I have here is, what must dissolve so that the next version of your life can emerge? And sitting with that, what needs to dissolve? And it's some identities, right? It's some belief systems. It's some way of being. So imagine the life you want to have. Who do you get to be to have that? These are the seeds we're planting now. Just like I was saying yesterday, you want to be fit and healthy. It's time to get really consistent doing fit, healthy shit. You want to have amazing relationships. It's time to move through those shadows, those emotions, those insecurities, the whatevers the bullshits are that are getting in the way of you being the type of partner, parent, sibling that you want to be. It's time to be done with all those victim stories, all of the need for all this external validation, all of this like taking too much responsibility for emotions and shit that is not yours to hold. Shift from needing to control reality back into trust and surrender, like truly being secure in the truth that something that is meant for you cannot pass you by. Trusting that your desires are safe guidance. If there's something that's meant to be yours, it will be. The partner that's meant to be with you will be with you. And being secure in that and leaning back into that truth. This is about shifting the way that leadership happens in the world. Self-leadership, leaderships inside of relationships, small groups, communities, and even the world stage, right? Like we've got all these big shadows popping up in leadership right now, and all of these people, judges being arrested, people in Congress being implicated, all of these things that are just these external mirrors of what's going on inside of our own individual shadow work between ourselves and ourselves. There's a part of us that is mirrored in this toxic leadership in the way that we're approaching our own life, in the way that we're trying to control or dictate outcomes, in the way that we are basically having biases towards different aspects inside of ourselves and like pushing those away. We're having an opportunity to integrate and to upgrade our leadership in our own life so that the world stage can begin to match that. And then we even know how to recognize that and how to elect that. Like new systems are being built, ones that are way more equitable and synergistic. Like we are seeing old dysfunctional things being released or upgraded to be able to really meet society and evolution where it's going, because the old shit is just not working. So this new aligned leadership, you guys, comes from this place of like top-down leadership energetically, where you're not looking at situations from the I self of like, how does this affect me? What is it that I really want? And you're shifting out of any sort of reaction in like a personal space where ego's getting offended or there's certain agendas or there's fear, and moving out into a leadership perspective. And in order to get there, we're being asked to completely shed the FAE bias and to speak into being and existence and to treat people like they are at the level that we believe that they're capable of. speaking it into being, still holding standards and boundaries about what is, but helping like educate people into better and wiser choices. So that looks like, and it even happens within the self, but that looks like, okay, I totally know that you are an incredibly kind and considerate person. And I know that even though I'm kind of having a story right now based on how you just said that you're not concerned about a win-win, I know that's actually not true. I know that you are. And I know that, like, you can see that we get to come up with a solution. So from a position of like, you know, of win-win and compromise, how do you think we should move forward from this? And I'm not saying that that is going to control or create the other person to change or be different. But what I am saying is it gives us the highest likelihood of getting that outcome. When you think about so many of the world leaders and people in our spaces are dysregulated, which means they're back here in the reptilian part of their brain, they're back into their childhood wounds. They can't see or think clearly at all. They have their inner child that is speaking or their inner teenager that is speaking. But if we can come in and maintain and hold a higher frequency of leadership and not fall for the FAE bias, we have the greatest likelihood of helping down regulate these emotional reactions by the space and the presence that we hold, thus bringing out the highest, best aspects of those people around us. Because I'm not just talking about like, oh, look across the aisle and like, who do we need to control over there? I'm like, look at the mirror and the symbolism inside of your own life, of the relationships you're struggling with, or the people that you have issues with or hiccups with or snags with. Like, where in that is there a way for you to speak more creative power into how you want it to turn out and how you want to move into win-win and compassion and understanding, right? Like the relationships you're wanting to have, the relationships with your kids, the relationships with your spouse, like how do you want those positions to go? We're having the opportunity to move out of like a control energy where it's like, I've got to like overly boundary or overly explain or overly prove or overly understand, to have like this control and this security, to kind of letting our hands off and moving up on the ladder to a perspective of leadership where we're seeing from the collective viewpoint of the win-win, what's best for everyone, versus seeing it in the limited perspective of the I from a selfish energy that's fear-based. Like, right? If you're not trusting life, if you're not trusting other people or other humans, how are you going to be able to create unity to actually productively create change? And if you think that you're only going to selectively project those wounds, you're crazy. That's not how it works. It's not like, oh, I'm just going to project this wound onto this person, this person, this person. How many times does your spouse say something in the wrong way and they all of a sudden don't become your spouse? They become your abuser from your childhood. They become that parent that neglected you. They become that teacher that criticized you or embarrassed you, right? Whatever it is, and you go right back into that space. That's what I'm talking about. And that's the work that we need to do if we're going to be able to stand in full unity. We need to move into our own sovereignty, walk up the ladder and stand in our own leadership. And this is some of the stuff that's collectively shifting. These are the themes that we're stepping into, and it's very, very exciting. So I just want to invite you to individually come back to that question, the journal prompt: what must dissolve so the next version of your life can emerge? What is that? What is that? What is that old way of being, that old pattern, that old wound, that old insecurity that you get to shed to actually be the visionary, the creative, and the leader of your own life and your own relationships? Not the controller, not the manipulator, but the leader. And leaders guide energy. They don't control energy, they guide energy. And they hold boundary and standard around energy that maybe will not be guided. Like there will be people that it's not a good idea to still have in our space, or jobs it's not a good idea, things that have run their course that we get to hold boundaries and move out of always. And then when we are in spaces that we've chosen into, how can we be a leader in that space to bring out the best possible solutions and the best possible atmospheres with our energy as we possibly can? And that is the opportunity right now. We also are moving into kind of like the cosmic new year because we're moving back out of Pisces into Aries, which is the beginning of the zodiac. So this does intensely symbolize new timelines. So shedding those identities, paying attention to the work that's coming up that needs to be done around those belief systems and around those wounds, and really planting those strong seeds of what your 2026 is going to look like, because this is a turning point year cosmologically, astrologically. So if you're wanting to create big quantum leaps, transformations in your life, this is the year to do it, to do that work. And if you're wanting support in that, reach out to me. Masters Academy is open right now. I'm taking applications and I can send you some info. Have a great day.